This is D'Lo Brown. You better recognize right here, right now, we're listening to Brags in the Stand, the best Bears coverage ever. Believe that.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? We're back talking some Bears here on Brags in the Stands. I am your host, Greg Braggs Jr. Alongside me, as always, is Junior. Greg Braggs Jr. Then we got Junior here on the opposite end, keeping me honest as always. Going to talk Bears versus Bills a little bit, and we're also going to kind of talk big picture as now we are 2 weeks away from Bears versus Packers. The preseason is now over. No more training camp, no more preseason games for the Bears, no more reps. Now we look ahead to the Bears and the Packers taking on each other at Soldier Field. Week 1 rivalry. It's just going to be a crazy, crazy game. And we're all very, very anxious to get there and get some answers. And I don't know how many answers we found out today. Maybe we found out some things that we didn't want answered. I don't really know how much to pull from it, and that's kind of what we're going to comb through. We may even let some of you viewers call in, so to speak. If it's going to be tricky if you're in the YouTube chat and you want to come in. You know, obviously, I'd love to have you, but the one way we're going to do this is tweet out. I'm going to tweet out the link maybe halfway through this show, and we're going to let some people call in and give their take on the game and try to step into the kitchen and see if they can handle the heat. We're going to try to do that a little bit more here this season as post-game or as schedules dictate, try to do post-game shows the night of when I get back from CHGO Studios, and we'll do our own little bit where we'll have our back and forth and then let some of the callers come in and voice their opinion, voice their hot take, and then Junior can scream at them, and we'll have a lot of fun doing that. So, Junior, I'll let you fire it off. I want you to, kind of take the stage here as I share the show along to some of these Facebook groups I'm a part of, and kind of give me your opening thoughts on what you saw today.
I'm going to be completely honest. I'm scared shitless. I think Bears fans, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, we're going 3-14, 4-15 or anything like that. But I think what we saw today, Bears fans should be a little bit worried about. The offensive line looked terrible. I got into an argument earlier. Somebody said, oh, well, this isn't the starters. Well, that's because all of our starters are hurt. I said 6-11 this year. That's putting a lot of variables in there, like injuries, schedule making, who you play at what time. Everybody had 10, 11 wins, 9 wins with no injuries, and now we're starting to see injuries. You look at Darnell Wright, he's hurt. Tevin Jenkins, he's hurt. Cody Whitehair is probably going to get hurt. Lucas Patrick, I think, is hurt. It's worrisome. We still can't stop the run. I don't understand why we can't stop that. Now, am I worried about that? No, because I think they have one of the best linebacking cores in the NFL. But from what I've seen, it's not good. Excuse me. And, getting to the quarterback is obviously still a thing. But the most important thing is the quarterback. And I know people are going to hate me for this. From what I saw today, Justin Fields did not play good. He had the one pass to DJ Moore today over the middle, which I thought was a good placement ball, right where it needed to be, low to the ground. So if he gets hit or whatever, he's just going straight to the ground. But it showed why we got DJ Moore. It's that yards after catch, and he turned that 7 or 8 yard catch into 35, 40 yards, whatever it was. But then you had the 2 passes that caught my eye immediately. When you had the one in the end zone, when you went to Darnell Mooney, which was bad ball placement again. And I get it. People are going to say, well, the defender had his back, facing towards you. That's when you take a chance. 100%. But the ball was placed so bad to where, honestly, Darnell Mooney didn't even have a chance. And then the one to DJ Moore, which I think, down the right side of the sideline, I think was even worse than the Darnell Mooney one. And it goes to show what Braggs has been saying for the last 5 to 6 weeks. They're not practicing this in practice, in training camp. They're not trying this. I heard Greg say it earlier. You look at Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, they were doing that shit in their sleep. Now, I'm not expecting Justin Fields and DJ Moore and Darnell Mooney to be able to do this stuff right away, but they're not practicing this stuff, and it shows, and it should be worrisome. I watched the play, the play where Justin got hit before they took him out. Braxton Jones got damn near laid out on his ass, got bull rush like no other. I think Bears fans really need to be, and people are in the comments are going to say I'm a pessimist and I hate the team. I don't hate the team because I love them just as much as everybody else watching and as Greg. But I think they should be worried going into week 1. And granted, it's in Chicago. You didn't play well in game 3. They should have played in game 2. I'm so sick of hearing, oh, well, they had live practices with the Colts. It doesn't matter. Justin Fields had an orange shirt on. There's a thought of I'm not getting hit. There is concerns with this team. I am worried going into week 1.
Yeah, I am. Scox is in the chat, and he says, to be honest, I'm with you on the concerns. These are real issues that need solutions, and quickly. And I think for some Bears fans, there was some growing concern today because you want them to finish on a strong note. Is that the end-all, be-all? Not necessarily. If you go back to last year's preseason game, the offense was humming the last couple preseason games. It was the Seahawks and then somebody else, I think the Browns in the third preseason game, and Justin played really well against both. And that didn't translate. Yes, they started 2-1. And then they went on to win only one more game the rest of the year. So it doesn't necessarily translate. I'm with you on the reps. I would have played the starters 1 or 2 series in Indianapolis. And then in this game, I would have even played them all the way to the half. Now there's some discussion on why Justin Fields was pulled when he did. Now, from a fan's point of view, they get down into the red zone on Justin Fields' third series. And that was the one time they finally moved the ball. It was 2 3-and-outs. And then on the third series, they get into the red zone, moving the ball a little bit, hit DJ Moore on a long play that DJ turned something out of nothing, nothing into something, so to speak. And then they throw a screen pass, which they've been great at here. That's, if you want to take one takeaway in the preseason, is the screen game all of a sudden looks like it's something that can be a strength to them. But on the screen pass, he takes a shot from the defensive tackle, Ed Oliver, who's a big boy. And it almost looks like he gets kind of hit under the chin. It's a hard shot. And all of a sudden, the next thing you know, Tyson Bagent's in. And the drive wasn't over. Like you rarely ever see that, where a starting quarterback is taken out like that unless he's hurt. And so we all were like, is he okay? And we were all screaming at the studio, like, show him on the sidelines. Like, what is going on here? Because it was just so bizarre to take him out in the middle of a series when they're in the red zone. And it turns out after the game, Matt Eberflus says, well, he had hit his rep count for the day. He wanted him to have 13 snaps. 13, like he had this specific number, and then he was coming out after 13 snaps. Now, I don't know if you believe this. I personally don't believe it. Like, it makes a ton more sense if you wanted to pull him because he took the shot from Ed Oliver. Personally, I would have loved to see the first team offense play the entire half. But if that, let's say that was their plan going in, and then when he took the shot from Ed Oliver, they were like, all right, never mind. We're going to cut the cord here because, like Gary Ross is pointing out in the chat, they're working. Yes, he's going to have to play with backups. But for today, there was a point where he's playing with a 4th string center. So, if you want to try to be fair to Justin and say, okay, we're going to take you out here because we don't want you to take another shot like that, that would make a lot of sense. But that's not the explanation we were given by the head coach. The explanation we were given was that he's coming out at 13 snaps, period, which to me is just odd. Let him finish the drive on a good note and let him get a touchdown, and we can all go in with a little more positive vibes, because right now you're voicing your concern. There's other Bears fans that are going to voice their concern, and I'm with you. I did make the point in the spaces with Elise. I had a lot of people come at me in training camp when I made a simple observation that they really weren't throwing a deep ball that much. And I think they have improved in the short to intermediate passing game, something that was missing from last year's team for a bevy of reasons, whether it was protection or receivers that couldn't get separation off the line of scrimmage. And this year, if you went to camp every day like I did, was lucky enough to do that, you did see improvement in that area, because DJ Moore is very good at getting separation off the line of scrimmage. Some pretty easy pitch and catch throws, as long as Justin is keeping consistent with his execution and getting rid of the ball. We saw that in 7-on-7s, in 11-on-11s. So I do think that will translate. But the one concern I did have was like, man, this is weird. We're just not seeing enough downfield throws. Now today, he throws the one deep ball to the middle part of the field. DJ Moore finds an open spot in the zone. He hits him. DJ does this move where he's on his knee, gets up, twists around, and finds his way for a 40-yard gain, some yards after the catch. But the throws to the sideline, to your point, they're not exactly humming on all cylinders. And I don't expect them to be, a well-oiled machine at this point. But this is the point about why reps are so key. It's not as if Justin Fields can't make those throws, but ball placement, timing, receivers route, where to make your break, where to turn, when to turn your head, all those little details are what makes Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, or whatever connection you want to say. That's why they make it look so seamless. Now, even if they were working on that a ton, it takes years to get to that kind of level. Now, we're talking the ultimate extreme with that combination. But that's the point, is it's going to take time for this offense, and I'm okay with that. I understand why you guys are concerned and other people are concerned. I'm not as concerned about the Bears' offensive ability to move the ball, because Justin Fields is a cheat code. So while the offensive line is going to have some injuries, even if guys are healthy, let's say Darnell Wright's out there week 1, let's say Lucas Patrick is out there week 1. Maybe Adam Hogue thinks that Tevin Jenkins will be the only guy missing from the starting offensive line come week 1. Let's say that's the case. Even then, I still think Justin Fields will still be able to do things on his own, which will open up plays for DJ Moore and Darnell Mooney and Chase Claypool, who I also think will be back for week 1. So that's not as much of a concern to me. What I am concerned about, though, is how fast or how many wins they can pull out while that's going on. I desperately need this team to start 2-0. They were given Green Bay at home, and they have Tampa Bay week 2. And you can learn, as long as they're learning while they're winning, then it's all gravy. But if they've got to learn and run through this process of getting, more comfortable with each other, and it results in losses, that's where the Bears fan, the meatball in me, is going to start getting anxious.
You said like it's going to take time, right? And like you need these reps and whatnot. I saw a pass today in the Jaguars-Dolphins game, and I want everybody to go watch it. Beautiful thrown ball. And I'm not saying Justin can't make great passes. I think Justin has a good arm. Beautiful thrown ball from Trevor Lawrence to Calvin Ridley. These guys have been practicing for 2 months, 3 months, the same amount of time as Justin and DJ Moore have been. Why can't we see this? Why can we not put the ball where it needs to be? It is an area of concern. And like Greg said,
is it not fair to suggest, though, on the two, as much as we want to say the ball placement could have been on the back shoulder, could have been placed better, are you going to give any credence to the idea that one or both of those throws could have been pass interference on the defense? Any credence at all? Because I was screaming it on the first one.
I think it was the one in the end zone with Mooney. I think a flag probably should have been thrown. I think that's the one. But the one to DJ Moore, I thought, if I'm not mistaken, I have to go back. I think DJ turned into a DB, and I thought it should have been pass interference on DJ. So, I mean, like, I get where you're coming from, but at the same time, like, give your wide receiver an opportunity. Those are both two balls that were not placed well, not placed well at all. And I know people are going to say, well, you're playing the if game. If the defender turns around in the end zone, that's an interception. And again, you're going to have everybody saying, oh, it's preseason. It doesn't matter. It does matter. Because if he threw that ball to Darnell Mooney and he catches that for a touchdown, all you Bears fans are freaking out saying, oh my God, look at that great pass by Justin Fields. But nobody ever wants to criticize the guy or anything like that. This is the same guy that came out publicly and said, I'm going to be the first Bears quarterback throw 4,000 yards. Awesome. We all want to see it. We all want to see you grow. But if you're going to say that, then I have the right to sit here and criticize you when you don't make the right decisions or the right throws, wherever it may be, whether it was today or last week, week 1, week 2. I have the right to criticize you. And today, he deserves to be criticized. The offensive line deserves to be criticized. They can't stop the run. That deserves to be criticized. Tyreek Stevenson deserves to be criticized. Cool, he had an interception, but played like a dumbass, in my opinion.
Well, he's a rookie, and he's going to have, his ups and downs like we saw last year with Kyler Gordon. I think we're in similar territory of both those guys and their trajectory, whereas Kyler's now ascending into a good player. He still has to prove that this year, but what we've seen so far at training camp, I think, shows that he's going to be a leader. He showed it a little bit in the preseason too, with some of that physicality on that one where he popped that ball loose. I know they didn't rule it a fumble, but with Tyreek Stevenson, I think there's going to be ups and downs, but you see the talent, and now he's just got to hone in some of the emotional highs and lows that he's going to go through as somebody that has a lot of confidence in himself. I'm not as, I want him to, try to rein that in, because the worst thing he can do is, commit a penalty that extends a drive. But as far as a guy that's going to make plays and become a good DB, I think you're seeing enough evidence of that the first couple of weeks. Yeah, you want to talk about ifs, where Justin could, if it might have been an interception. Well, then that cuts both ways for Tyreek Stevenson. He easily could have had 2 interceptions. They went right through his hands. I can work with that. What I like about him is he's always in the right place. And then today, he learns from his mistakes of dropping the pass, which he talked about in the post game after the last week. And this week, he's blanketing a guy on the sidelines, turns around, makes a play, and finishes the play and catches the interception. So I really am encouraged by Tyreek Stevenson, but I have no doubt there will be times where they're going after him. Now, you talk about Kyler Gordon last year getting picked on by Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers ain't walking through that door for Green Bay.
Oh, 100%.
And that's why I'm still encouraged week 1, because you want to talk about a couple things that I heard you bring up in the spaces that we can talk about here, but you talk about, hey, everybody wants to Bears fans only want to talk about when everything goes right in a vacuum. And that's not how it works in reality. There's going to be injuries, and they're already sustaining some. Other teams are going to have injuries too, though, Junior, and that's
100%.
Like, so we're laser focused on the Bears, but there's other teams that have nagging injuries going on that they're going to have to get through, and there will be some that happen during the game week 1, and it's about who makes those adjustments. Same with my point to Tyreek Stevenson. Jordan Love has still got a lot of chemistry of his own to work on, still has to prove himself in a lot of ways. And now he's walking into a raucous Soldier Field crowd. Is he going to have that same moxie that Aaron Rodgers has on third downs, and that understanding of who to pick on and go after Tyreek Stevenson every single time and just pick him apart? No, he's not a veteran. So I'll be very surprised if that's what Jordan Love steps in and does. That doesn't mean I'm not nervous about week 1, but that's where I kind of wanted to go with you. Now that we're heading towards week 1, you had said the last time we were on this show that you were leaning towards the Bears winning that game. And I don't expect you are entitled to make your final decision if we do a show 3 days before game day, Bears Packers. But at where it stands right now, has the meter moved? Are you leaning towards they're going to lose that game? Because I'm holding firm. I'm going to be vomiting the morning of Bears Packers. I'm going to be vomiting at halftime, and I have no doubt the Bears are going to make this game interesting. but I still feel the Bears are going to win this game. Where do you stand?
I think it'll be an interesting game. Listen, I want the Bears to win. Like, I cannot stand the Packers, but I just think the Packers are the better team. You know, I really do. And I think we're better at the quarterback position. I think their O-line is better. We're beat up. And again, who's to say in a week from now they're not beat up, or who's to say in week one they don't get beat up during the game, you know, to where they sustain an injury that hurts them. But they have a great running back room to where if Jordan Love is struggling, you can depend on that. You can depend on Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon. That is a good running back room. The receivers, you know, I don't think they're great. You know, they're young. They still have to prove themselves in the league. So I won't say like they're world beaters by any means. And I think people are sleeping on their defense. I think their defense is really good. I like their front seven. And when it comes to the Bears, we showed today we can't protect. And again, we're beat up. And maybe by week one we get healthy and hope things are better. Didn't stop the run today. And again, I'm just going off of what I seen today. Didn't stop the run. Didn't get to the quarterback. That defensive line, he said it right there. Clark, Van Ness, and Wyatt. It scares the shit out of me, especially against an offensive line like us that's beat up right now. Not good. I don't think Justin Fields trusts them. I have the Packers winning, unfortunately.
Yeah, and you know, like I said, I think it'll be interesting. And I guess one of the biggest questions is who's in and who's out for the Bears, because right now it's a long list of players that haven't played or practiced, and it grows by the day. You know, it seems like they dodged a bullet with Cole Kmet. You know, he got taken off on a cart, and that scared the shit out of everyone after a practice. Then he returned to practice the next day. He was playing today. And then he took a low hit today on the sidelines.
Yeah, I saw
that. Scared the shit out of me. But hey, this is football, and they're big boys. They're going to have to take hits like that. You know, we've got, maybe they dodged a bullet with Darnell Wright. They're being very close to the vest on what they're revealing for injuries. But, you know, depending on what you believe and the tea leaves, some, you know, that are covering this team much closer than I am, believe that he's going to be fine and he'll be ready week one. So I'm going to lean towards believing in that until I'm proven otherwise. But until the injury report comes out week one, we're really not going to have a closer idea of who's available. Jaquan Brisker, same thing. You know, Chase Claypool, same thing. You know, I feel feel optimistic that these guys will return, but we don't know for sure. And then when they do return, you know, they haven't played in a while. So then they're shaking off a little rust in that regard. It's week one for everybody at the same time. I'm sure the Packers have rested veterans as well, you know,
sure,
that aren't practicing or playing, getting as many reps in preseason. I'm not monitoring that as closely. So we'll just have to continue to see how that goes. But I think that's going to play a big part in which way the needle moves for Bears Packers. But I just always go back to, I think the teams are evenly matched. I think Justin Fields has a little bit of an edge on Jordan Love in that he has more NFL experience to this point, and that is vital. You know, Jordan Love also is walking into a hornet's nest week one. That place is going to be rocking. You know, the Packers certainly can take some of the air out of the building if they get out to an early lead. But the Bears were one of the best teams getting points on their first drive last season. And if they can carry that over into this year, that's only going to up the heat and the energy in that stadium, which is going to make Jordan Love's, you know, life even more miserable and invigorate that Bears defensive front to get to the quarterback. So, you know, I think the energy is going to play a big part in this game. So I'm definitely still leaning towards Bears. So we're going to be split on this up to that point. We're getting in the chat. Love is a bum. You know, and he's got, I think
he may be,
we don't know. We don't know if he's good or bad
exactly
at this point. And, you know, I've heard a few people make the point like, hey, I hope he's just average. So the Packers have this tough decision to make. That's fine. As long as he loses week one, he needs to be a bum week one. And then for the rest of the year, just be average enough to keep the Packers out of the quarterback derby coming up next offseason. You know, we got Jim Lucky in the chat. Why is this guy yelling at me? Well, you're definitely referring to both of us because we both yell. So that's how these shows are going to go. And if we're not your cup of tea, if we're not your brand that you're looking for, and you're looking for this, detailed, analytical, we're going to bring some of that in here. But what we bring here is passion. And at times you're going to hear some screaming. And that's what we do here at Brags in the Stands, for our Bears in the Stands shows or any of the shows I do. So if this channel isn't for you, this ain't, some of the other podcasts I've done or I do currently, it's going to be a different swerve here. And we're going to bring fans on, and there's going to be times where we even cuss each other out. I really don't give a shit, to be honest with you. This is our chance here to kind of let it loose. Obviously, we'll always keep it in the lines. We're going to be respectful, but at the same time, we're going to let passion, win out here, and we're going to have some fun talking Bears this season. And I still feel very encouraged that it's going to be a really fun season for the Bears. But either way, you're going to have fireworks here. And if you don't like the meatballs, then you better go eat a salad somewhere else, because we're serving meatballs up here on Bears in the Stands. So where else do you want to take this before I, do the impossible and tweet this link out to all my followers on Twitter and see where this goes? And I got to bring this up.
I got to bring this up because I know everybody is already crowning Justin Fields as the golden boy, even though he really hasn't proved anything in the NFL. But Greg, there's a guy in Chicago that they might be developing. Number 17, Tyson. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Bagent, whatever. Bagent, whatever.
Secret Bagent man.
If things, and again, this is a big if, because that's what these debates are about, is if things go haywire at some point in the season, I can only imagine what happens if Tyson comes into play. Or, again, I don't ever wish injury on anybody, right? And this is a big if. If Justin goes down with an injury and he's out for a series or a few drives, a quarter, a half, or a game, and Tyson comes in and plays well, is that something that they have to think of behind closed doors? Is Tyson better off leading us? And again, everybody in the chat who's like, "Oh, this guy wants Tyson to start." No, I don't. Okay, I don't want to see Tyson or PJ Walker on the field at all this year, at all, because Justin Fields is far better than all of them. But from what we've seen of him, and it was against second and third strings, I think it was promising. I think it was something to look at and be somewhat excited for, that if Justin goes down for whatever reason, you have a guy that can come in and maybe hold the fort together. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm tweeting right now. So I think that when it comes to Tyson Bagent, it's encouraging. It's definitely encouraging, and I think I've already started to send some people drawing their lines in the sand because, you have some defensiveness about Justin Fields and how he's, progressing and how much of an opportunity he's going to get to make mistakes and things of that nature. But at the end of the day, you need to just remove all that conversation that you're hearing from, the extremes. Who's going to take this to the extreme? And what you're seeing from Tyson Bagent is extremely encouraging. And I'll be very upset if they cut him and they lose him to another team. He needs to be a developmental project for this team. Maybe he's more than that already. Until he gets in with the first team, we don't really know if he's like more than a developmental project at this point. But he's definitely 100% a very intriguing prospect right now. And this team has to keep him on the roster. And we've done this a million times as Bears fans. Year after year, we identify some player that there's no way that the Bears can cut. And like clockwork, they cut him, and we all freak out about it. And then about 5 hours later, he's added back to the practice squad. And every time we're like, he won't make it to the practice squad. Somebody's going to claim him. And then he always does. But this is a different situation. It's not, most of the time that player is a wide receiver. This time it's a quarterback, and quarterbacks are a premium in this league. And so we're all seeing this. Trust me, the rest of the league is watching this and going, ooh, this guy's got a little flair. He's got some rhythm. He, when he 3-step drop, gets that ball out, bang. He's got some fluidity. Today, when he, 3-step drop, it wasn't there, he took off and run, showed some athleticism, showed a little moxie after one of those runs with a nice kick slide, popped up, let the whole crowd know, had a little confidence in himself. When Fields had to come right away in the red zone, he made a quick check down to Cole Kmet. Nice sideline throw. Cole almost got it into the end zone. Then on, a couple series later, they get a turnover. They dial up, right up the seam to the tight end, Carlson. I thought he laid out a pretty good balls. You can argue and pick nits and say, he let him a little too much. He threw a touchdown pass there, and Carlson just didn't come down with it.
Is that the one he dropped, I think?
Yeah, he dropped it. And then on the very next play, he throws an interception. Maybe there was some miscommunication with the Reese Fountain, maybe not. But at the end of the day, the play before should have been a touchdown. And he throws an interception, that's fine. I don't expect Tyson Bagent at this point of his career to not make mistakes. I don't expect Justin Fields at this point of his career to not make mistakes. So I certainly can't with Tyson Bagent. So I think we're at a point where he's extremely intriguing. He's worked himself into the conversation as quarterback too. And I think he won the job today. I saw a take from Carmen Vitale. She felt like, he's getting so many reps. That's because they're giving him a chance to put it on tape to go to another team. I disagree. Yeah, the amount of reps into the third quarter that he got told me, you won the job, kid. That's what it told me, because it really wasn't a fair balance of second team reps. But if it was a legitimate quarterback 2 competition today, they would have given equal reps with Tyson Bagent and PJ Walker as the second team offense. I didn't really feel that's what happened. Tyson Bagent got the majority of that second team offense reps, and then PJ Walker came in and it started to trickle into third team. So I think he won the job. I think that's what they'll announce here soon. Then the question is, are they cutting PJ Walker? I hope they don't. If it were me, I'd keep 3 quarterbacks on the roster. And then at the end of the day, what's the worst that could happen? If you want to put Tyson Bagent out there first, let's say Fields has to come out for a series in the Packers game, or even a quarter. I don't care. Or just a series or 2 series. They got to retape his ankle, whatever. And Tyson Bagent comes in there and he just looks overwhelmed. It's all too fast for him. Then you just take him out and put the veteran
in. Yeah.
So I don't really see much harm in it. I also am fine with if they want to keep him on the roster, but keep him as third string and put the veteran in front of him and let him develop by watching, not just watching Fields, but watching the backup. Watch the backup and see how he conducts himself on the offense. See how he is paying attention to the plays getting called in and out. A backup quarterback has some responsibility to the offense, helping, the quarterback, communication aspect from sideline to huddle. Watch those things. I think there's a lot of value in that. But if he's ready for quarterback 2, then hell, throw him to the fire and see what's up. If it doesn't, if he's overwhelmed, like I said, you can pull him, and then there's not much harm in that. And then worst case scenario, which I don't like talking about because I don't even like speaking it into existence. But at the end of the day, this is it's a possibility for every team in the league. If there's a Trey Lance moment where he gets hurt, our QB1 gets hurt week 1 and can't play the rest of the season, who would I rather see out there all year? A veteran and Nathan Peterman or PJ Walker that I don't see has much of a future with this team, or Tyson Bagent for the rest of the year, and just let it rip, kid, and see how much you can develop in a year. I'd prefer to see that in the worst case scenario situation. So,
and again, if we see Tyson Bagent, it's bad news, right? Like, because there's one of 2 things: Justin's out for the season, or we just suck so much to where they're like, get him out there, see what he can do, whatever it may be. So if anyone's thinking like, I want to see Tyson, that's the last thing I want to see. I do not want to see him or PJ Walker on that shitty Soldier Field surface that we play on, or an away game, whatever it may be. I want to see Justin for a full 17 and be able to give a fair analysis what he can do with weapons. I think he can be good. I really do. And I think Chicago has their guy. And people will say, oh, you just like to nitpick every little thing. I'm not lying. I do. But I also think it's fair if Bears fans are going to sit here and say, oh, he was so good on this play or this play or this play, I think it's fair for me to also rebuttal and be like, well, on this play, he didn't play well. He didn't make a good read. He didn't make a good decision. The ball was a bad throw, whatever it may be. And, we were in the space earlier, and, people were coming at me and they said, oh, you're just hating on Justin Fields, whatever it may be. And that's not the case. I love Justin Fields. I think he can be really good in this league. But Danikin, who you and I know, he had made a comment. He goes, you guys are misinterpreting what Junior is saying. And that's exactly what I just said. If Justin would have went out there today and went 9 of 12, 175 yards and a touchdown and rushed for 50 yards, everybody would have thrown a parade over it and thought it was the greatest thing ever. All Junior is saying is he didn't play good. So going off of this game, I have the okay and I think approval to be like, hey, he did not play good. Doesn't mean he's going to suck week 1, but he just didn't play good today. And that's okay.
Yeah, it is fine. But I will say this, like, it's getting ramped up, some of the narratives and hype train for Tyson Bagent. People are excited about him. Now there's a segment of Bears fans that don't believe in Justin Fields. They just don't. And they see a guy that can't read the field, doesn't get the ball out quick, always chooses to take off and run. Then they see this guy come in against second and third string players. But for those certain people that I'm talking about, they don't really care. They see a guy that's getting the ball out quick, reading the defense, showing some different things. This conversation will get ramped up if in this scenario where Justin Fields has to come out for a series or two and Tyson Bagent comes in, and with that charisma, confidence, moxie that I was talking about, comes out in a 3-step drop, grips it and rips it to DJ Moore. I'm sure a lot of them will be pretty simple throws, and you'll, but before you know it, if he comes out there and executes, plays with some of the moxie we've seen in the preseason, that will then turn a conversation to a different place. And once again, where we've been for 30 years, I'm 38 years, coming up on 38 years old. Every year I've been a Bears fan. We are divided with who should be the quarterback. Right now, we're somewhat divided as a fan base on what Justin Fields' ceiling is, but nobody in the offseason was questioning who QB1 was. And it was a nice change of pace.
To be honest, if there is anybody out there questioning who's going to start week 1 or should start week 1, you're a dumbass. It's set in stone who is starting week 1. Like it's not even close. The talent level of Tyson to Justin is far more talented than him. It's not even close. So the people out there who want to see Tyson, there's some sort of agenda, whatever that may be, but Justin gives you the best chance to win 100%.
Yeah, I completely agree. But like I said, if we get to that point, and I I'm just going to live in this world where I feel like you said, Bears fans love to dream about perfect scenarios in a vacuum. And I don't even want to think about when Justin Fields has to come out, even though I know that moment is going to occur at some point. It's just, it's mathematics. I mean, it's an eventuality that unfortunately is going to happen just the way he plays the game. The hope is that it's not for an extended period of time. It's for a series or a couple snaps or even only one game. Now, I'm okay if he has to miss one game, because he got banged up or whatever. But in that scenario, if Tyson Bagent were to come in and show some different things, now all of a sudden we're back to this, pulling your hair out argument where some fans are going to draw their line and say one way or the other. And at the end of the day, what I'm trying to tell fans is don't pay attention to any of that. And I know I'm part of some of this problem on Bears Twitter where we stoke the flame, where we live in the extremes. And at the end of the day, let those people live in the extreme, because just leave it at the fact that Tyson Bagent is an encouraging prospect, developmental player on this team. It's a good problem for the Bears to have. And some are going to overstate it and think he should do this, that, or the other. But the fact that he's elevated himself all the way to quarterback 2 is just a very encouraging thing. I'm seeing some I am Scocks in the chat saying Agent Bagent autograph trading cards are like $80 to $170 right now. Just thought I'd put that out there. His name is, listen, my guy, Mark Harmon, his name is Secret Bagent, man. I'm seeing people calling him Bagent Orange. Special Bagent was tweeted by the Bears. His name is Secret Bagent, man. We came up with it. Ride the train or get out the way. That's how I feel about it. Man, a simple nickname, So yeah, I mean, that's essentially where we're at. I mean, if somebody wants to hop in here, that, like I said, if you're watching this show and you want to come in and give your thoughts, feel free to hop in. I did just tweet the link out here just a minute ago, and you're welcome to come on in. But if not, I understand you're trying to be shy. You don't want to give your thoughts. You want to step into the fire. I know it can get a little tricky. But that's what we want to be. We want to do a post-game show where we give our thoughts, but then we give you guys, the fans, a voice, and you're able to come on and share your thoughts. And if you disagree with one of us, come on in and tell us that we're morons. I mean, I know I am. I have no problem.
I get told it every day. It's okay.
Yeah, I got no problem with a differentiating opinion. We welcome that here. Some are afraid of a differentiating opinion, but I'm not. And that goes for the media people too, because I know they're watching. They're always watching, trying to keep up with old Braggs here. And any of you guys, if you're media guys and you want to come in, step into the. I know Herb Howard ain't afraid of a differentiating opinion. We have a lot of fun going back and forth with each other. So anybody else wants to come in here, anybody, the door is open for anybody. All calls are welcome here on Braggs in the Stands, or as we call in these shows, Bears in the Stands. So I know I see Heidi's in the chat. Scox, Berlissimo, my guy Gary Ross was watching earlier too. So even Cracker, who came out for the golf event, drinking game every time we get a pick nits, rails go off, or not get into the logistics. I'm sorry. Yeah, I have sayings I go to, Cracker. He did come to the golf event though with his daughters, and that was very nice of him here for our CHGO Kickoff Classic. Yesterday at Cog Hill. My days are molding together, so I didn't know if that was 2 days ago or a day ago. I'm going to do the impossible, Junior, and that is tomorrow morning. I'm leaving for Florida early, bright and early in the morning, going with my family. We're celebrating our 10-year anniversary, and I am going to let go of my phone, and I'm not going to tweet. God. Adam Hogue told me I am banned from our CHGO Bears meeting we have every Monday morning at 8:30 a.m. And I told him I'd be there for it. And he told me I am not, he will kick me out of the meeting if I try to join. We do it from Zoom. So I'm not even allowed in the damn meeting. The only responsibility that I do have, so you don't think that I'm going against what I'm saying here, is we've got our tailgates. We announced on our show, on our post-game show, that we're going to be having our CHGO Bears tailgates this season on the corner of Wabash and Cermak with our guys over at the Chicago Bears Tailgating Club, which I'm very excited for. And you can get those tickets at allchgo.com if you hit the events tab. And see links to all the different tailgating events coming up for every home game all the way into November against the Panthers. But I do have to promote that once a day on social media. So I'll have my posts. I've already got a couple of the videos ready to go. I pre-made some videos. Normally I do them in the moment. But aside from that, I'm going to stay off Twitter. Not going to tweet. I'm not going to go in spaces and argue with Elise. Do you believe in me? Do you even think I'm capable of this?
I don't know, because that Tuesday morning Chris Jones to the Bears trade is going to hit so good. It's going to hit so good.
Oh, fuck. You just drew up a scenario there, man. See, I almost wasn't even – you're a son of a bitch, because I almost wasn't even going to bring my laptop and my stuff. And now that you say that, you son of a bitch, now that you say that, I'm going to have to bring my equipment, because you're right, dude. It's like
if something like that happens, the Bears must know something that we don't know, and I assume they know a lot that we don't know. This is so
crazy.
Gary Ross, I do agree. I don't think Chris Jones is coming here at all. I don't think they're willing to give up assets to pay for him. But I just want to say this. In 2018, when they got Khalil Mack, I thought the team was improved. I did not think they were the best team in the division. I thought they would have finished second or third, would have competed for that, maybe a wild card, but I did not think they would go 12-4. And, they make a trade for a Hall of Fame talent like Khalil Mack and end up going 12-4. And maybe Ryan Pace knew something about the team. Now, Do I think these trades with Chris Jones or even someone like Jonathan Taylor happens? Absolutely not. Do I think the Chicago Bears made a call? Yes, I do. I do believe they made a call to the Kansas City Chiefs. There's obviously a relationship there, with the guys over in KC and Ryan Poles. So I think a call was made. I don't think anything happens. But if something, and again, we play the if game, if something were to happen and they do bring in a Chris Jones, you're paying him top dollar, obviously. And that would lead me to believe like, okay, they are ready to win now. And maybe that shuts me up a little bit like it did in 2018 when they got a Khalil Mack. But it would be interesting to see again, because I remember going back to that day, I believe it was a Monday morning when the news broke of them getting Khalil Mack, or maybe it was a Sunday morning, whatever it was. And the Bears just owned like NFL media like that whole week. So it'd be cool again, to see that happen again. But I don't see a Chris Jones trade happening. But if it did, I'll tell you what, I'll be sitting there on YouTube watching CHGO just lose their shit and Greg be there while Jenny's in the back pissed off at him. So it'd be great. It'd be great content.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's an interesting, thought. And Gary says I can confirm they called on Jones. He's got a guy.
Okay.
And so Gary is my source of information, and I appreciate Gary a lot. But it's interesting because when we got Khalil Mack, I was in Austin, Texas for my good friend Jake's wedding at the time. And I woke up that morning to a bunch of people texting me, completely lost my shit. And it elevated a team that was like intriguing and looked like they had some promise. It's like the exact same mentality I have about this team. Like, I feel good about them. I don't think that they're Super Bowl contenders. You'd be hard pressed to get me to bet, hard-earned money that they're going to make the playoffs. But I am willing to bet that they're going to be much better. Like, I'm willing to put my hard-earned money on that because I truly do believe it. And that team was very similar in 2018, and not everybody believed it. The Dan Wieters of the world were still skeptical, and I felt like, hey, this team showed some things offensively. You could even make an argument that there was more explosiveness in camp than what I've seen this year. But I would say the talent on this team's a little higher when you consider DJ Moore.
Higher than 2018?
Yeah. I mean,
and I would agree. And go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I would say DJ Moore puts it over the top. DJ Moore is more on that Brandon Marshall level. Like when he first came to the Bears, a game changer on a totally different level. Now, Allen Robinson, Anthony Miller, Taylor Gabriel, they all showed things that can be like, okay, they got something here. They all do something different. And that showed out to an extent in the 2018 season. They were better off offensively than they are most seasons as a Bears team, even though they were limited, even still with some of that talent. They had Tariq Cohen and Jordan Howard that were running the ball pretty well that season. Go ahead. Yeah, this team, I think, skill-wise across the board, that tight end was Trey Burton. This tight end is, Cole Kmet, more talented. Wide receivers, DJ Moore, Chase Claypool, Darnell Mooney, Tyler Scott. I'll take that over Allen Robinson, Taylor Gabriel, Anthony Miller. I'll take that. The running back room, Jordan Howard and Tariq Cohen. And I love Tariq Cohen, especially in his rookie season. Or his second season, he was just going off. This running back room, though, you got Khalil Herbert, Deontay Foreman, and Roschon Johnson, who every time I watch Roschon, I get more and more excited about Roschon Johnson. I think he's going to be every bit the player David Montgomery was, if not a lot better than David Montgomery. I'm already at that point with him.
The people in the chat, I can't disagree with you guys 100% more than I do. You're sitting here saying, Bears and cigars. Maybe next year they'll be ready to make a move like that. Right now, we're only a 7-8 win team, but they have to get this going quick. It's already year 3 for QB1. What do you think the Bears were in 2018? You think they were a 9 or 10 win team before they got Khalil Mack? They weren't. They were not. You go right here. They are Mo Beerman. They are not in a position to spend that sort of money on one defensive player. They still have too many holes. You think they didn't have holes in 2018? Go look at that 2018 team and look at the team now. You want to look at the defensive side? Eddie Jackson, Adrian Amos. Eddie Jackson, Jaquan Brisker. I love them both. Let's look at the cornerbacks. You had a Mukamara and Kyle Fuller. Now you got Kyler and Jalen. What is the linebacking core? I would say the linebacking core is better now than it was 5 years ago. I love our linebacking core.
I guess you would say the defensive line had a little more juice. Had a Keaton Hicks.
That I will agree with. 100%. But to say, they're only a 7 or 8 win team. If you truly believe they're a 7 or 8 win team, this is a move you make. The NFC North is trash. Trash. The Vikings got worse. We don't know what Green Bay is. Detroit still has to prove themselves. The NFC in totality is wide open. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say the Bears are gonna win the NFC. I don't think that's going to happen. But then you look at the offensive side of the ball. I think we're more talented offensively now than we were 5 years ago. I truly do. So to say like Chris Jones isn't a guy you want to acquire now.
Would you say Chris Jones is Khalil Mack though? Because
that's 100%.
That's where I hesitate because Khalil Mack was a superstar. Chris Jones, I don't think is on the same same level. I'm not gonna say stratosphere because then we're saying that they're way far apart, talent wise. But what it would take to get, of course, I'd take Chris Jones on this team, but I'm not willing to give up a first round pick at any point in the next few years for him. I'm not giving him one. I'm not giving them one of my 2 first round picks next year. I'm not even giving them a first round pick 2 years from now.
But see, then this is the problem. This is the problem I have. If you woke up tomorrow, breaking news: Chicago Bears acquire Chris Jones from Kansas City Chiefs. Bears fans are going to lose their shit. They're going to lose their shit, and they're going to instantly go, "Oh, we're 7 wins. Now we're an 11-win team." This is the problem I have because now I'm playing the role of everybody else of being overly positive and optimistic, and now everyone's like, "Oh no, we're only a 7-win team. We're not ready for that." That's the problem I have. Is now because you don't want to bring this guy in because you got to give up assets, you got to pay him. I see right here he's 29. Khalil Mack was 28. You paid him. What's the difference? I get it. Khalil Mack is a fucking first ballot Hall of Famer. Chris Jones has Hall of Fame talent. I don't see I don't see the difference.
Chris Jones is a Hall of Famer.
Talent. I didn't say he's a Hall of Famer. I said he has Hall of Fame talent. Yes, okay. He does.
So we need a Chris Jones on this team. But at the same time, if they did it, I'd accept it. I wouldn't agree with it. I wouldn't have done it personally. But I'll still accept it and be excited that now we have some more answers on the defensive line.
So in 2018,
but if you're asking me beforehand, I'm not doing it because these 2 first round picks are going to continue to set this franchise up for years to come. And we could be sitting on a pot of gold here coming up next off season. And they can do a lot of things and achieve a lot of goals without making any more moves. And then be sitting on, because they were sitting on a pot of gold this last offseason, and they could be sitting on another pot of gold coming up this next one.
Well,
so
you're obviously not trading the Carolina pick. You're not trading the Carolina pick. That's obvious. Like there's a chance that's a top 3, top 4, top 5. But you think the
Bears are going to be worse than Carolina's pick? So why would you?
I've already conceded that. I'm just not paying you yet. It's that simple. Yes, you're going to get $100. You're going to get $100 Venmo or Zelle from me. It's just not going to happen until January when the season's over. I've conceded that.
Who's that guy I got the bet with too? Oh, that's the one I might have to pay your money with back because I've got this guy that's betting me 2,800 yards over under for Fields passing yards, and I took the over. He took the under.
I would probably say over.
It fucking better be. Yeah, I'll be shocked if he doesn't throw.
My whole thing is yards. And like you said, like in 2018. Listen. You got people, you don't make that move until your QB solidified. Are you really going to sit here and tell me they had Mitch Trubisky solidified? Bullshit. You don't believe that. Ryan Pace didn't believe that. Ryan Pace knew that was his job. That was his job on the line. And it showed 2-3 years down the road that he fucked up royally. They were not ready to make that move.
Chris Jones thing isn't going to happen because Poles is the opposite of Pace. Yes, there's times he's going to trade up, But for the most part, Poles is going to wait for the market to come to him. He's going
100%.
to wait for the market to come to him on Yannick Ngakoue. He's going to wait for the draft for guys to fall to him. He's going to trade back, from first to 9 to 9 to 10. He's looking to add draft equity, not lose it. So I think trading for Chris Jones and giving up a first round pick, and it's going to take more than just a first round pick, to be quite honest with you. And I just don't think that's Ryan. That goes against Ryan Poles' MO. So I don't think it's going to happen. But to your point about the possibility of that happening, and not to mention, you got to also include the fact that cut day, I think, is Tuesday. It's either Monday or Tuesday. I think maybe it's Gary will correct me in the chat. Either way, next week is cut day, which means there's going to be surprise cuts across the league, and the Bears hold waiver priority over everyone in the league, number one in waiver priority. So this is an opportunity we talk about. Adam Hogue talked about the possibility of some trades going down. Travis Gibson requesting a trade, maybe do a 3-4 Tuesday at 5:00. Gary Ross in the chat.
He already knows where the Kansas City Chiefs 53 man is, so he knows everything.
Oh, he knows. Gary's my guy. He's a bevy of information. He helps me a lot with my job that I get paid for. So like me and Mark Carmen always joke about, eventually I'm gonna have to start paying him for this.
I agree with you. Ryan Poles is not the guy to give up, especially draft capital for a player. I don't think he believes in that. And to be quite frankly honest with you, I don't really believe in that either, because we saw what the last regime did with giving up draft capital, and it's why we're in the hole we're in now, right? Like, we have sucked the last 2-3 years because of making trades like that. I saw somebody say right here, aging defense, right? And it aged quick, and they got hurt a lot, and it hurt us. And what really sucked is when they aged and got hurt and our offense wasn't explosive or wasn't good, then we were just a bad team that was somehow winning 7, 8, 9 games a season. I don't know how the hell that happened, but they still did it. I don't see them going out there and doing it. Dre, I see your comment. What would it take to get him? Obviously a first, right? You're obviously giving a first and maybe a second or a second day pick. I don't know. And then you got to put on top of that, you have to pay him too. So I'm sure there's a lot of things that go into it that I don't think Ryan Poles really wants to open Pandora's box for that.
Yeah, I agree. So we'll have to wait and see. But it is interesting because when I was down on a vacation for a wedding, all of a sudden we make a trade for Khalil Mack. Now I'm going down to Florida right before the season, and maybe we trade for Chris Jones. But at the end of the day, I do think that there will be changes to the roster next week. So I think it might be in my best interest to keep my stuff nearby. And even if Adam Hogue won't let me jump into some kind of show and start hooting and hollering and screaming about Super Bowls, we shall see. I did put the link out to a few different places to see if anyone wanted to join us. And I guess it's appropriate that our girl Elise joins us here for our first call-in, but her video isn't on. I don't know if she's going to be shy with us. Can you hear us, Elise?
I can hear y'all.
Okay. Are you gonna stay incognito? No video. You're only gonna go voice because you're more than if that's what you want to do. We're not gonna pressure you.
Oh, you can't see me anyway. I'm sitting in the dark.
You're sitting in the dark. This is
whoa. You know what? I love hearing that because Aaron Rodgers did it. And let me tell you what, boy, only the goats sit in the dark. And if you do it for 72 hours at least, I might put you in my MySpace top 8 because I'll tell you what, goats do that shit. So
I ain't pulling the Aaron Rodgers.
What's the question, honey?
She's in the dark room. She's in the dark room just like Rodgers, preparing for the season. And this is just you can turn the lights on. Why? What time is it that you're sitting in the dark? It's 9 o'clock at night.
It's 9:58 for me.
Oh, you're in the least coast time zone.
I can turn a light on.
It just makes no sense. Like, you don't have a TV on. Like, isn't college football on right now? Like, you're just sitting in the dark.
I'm in my room now.
Well, we can hear that. It's just odd to me at 9:58. You're just sitting in the pitch black, but that's fine. Like I said, you don't have to be on video. We're taking calls. So that's what we're doing here. You're the first caller here on Bears in the Stands for this season. So what are your thoughts, Elise? Fire away. Any thoughts or questions you have?
Thoughts? It's preseason. That's where I'm at. It's preseason. We'll be fine. Questions I have: what do we do at the center spot?
Well, you tell us, Elise.
Yeah, you tell me, because I have just as much ideas as you.
I mean,
I would hit the waiver wire or sign Ben Jones. That's probably the best answer I can give.
So you don't have much faith in Lucas Patrick, because this is where
he's fine, but he can't stay healthy.
Okay. All right. Now her lights are on. The fan is spinning. We can see the fan spinning in the background. But yeah, and to your point, you say, what are we going to do at center position? Well, I would not have moved Cody Whitehair. We've disagreed on this, Elise, but I would not have spent all offseason in training camp having Cody Whitehair under center. Yes, I understand he rolls a few snaps, and that could come back to haunt you during the season in a pivotal moment in a game. But why spend all offseason in training camp having a guy under center only to move him to left guard when Tevin Jenkins gets hurt? It to me was a mistake. You're now trying to fix one position by affecting two when you could have just taken Ja'Tyre Carter. I understand he's been practicing at right guard, but you move him over to left guard. You did correct me on the fact that he got no snaps at left guard during the season last year, but he did at training camp last offseason play left guard. So it's not like he's completely unfamiliar with it. Tevin Jenkins also hasn't played left guard, and they put him there. So,
but Tevin Jenkins had months to learn the position. You're asking Ja'Tyre Carter to nail that in 3 weeks.
And one thing, if I'm not mistaken, and they're saying it in the chat, yeah, you highlighted it. He hurt his snapping hand, his right hand, I believe.
Well, everybody's hurting their fucking hand at center.
Well,
every center, their hand is wrecked.
True. He hurt his snapping hand, so he probably still can't snap anyways. I saw the wrap.
So you're telling me, had Tevin gotten hurt and Cody Whitehair not hurt his hand, he'd still be at center? Do you think that?
No.
All right, well then just take the whole hand thing out of it.
It still goes back to my point that Cody Whitehair has years of experience at left guard. Asking Ja'Tyre Carter to learn it in 3 weeks and then be ready week one wasn't ideal or realistic.
I mean, didn't we do that to Tevin Jenkins? If I'm not mistaken?
He had months to learn it though, not weeks. I said 3 weeks.
Mean,
he had since January to switch over. Like, you're asking Ja'Tyre Carter to switch for within 3 weeks? No.
I got Bear Truth 9 in the chat yelling at me. They want Carter at right guard and develop him there. Period.
They don't want Carter at right guard. They want Nate Davis at right guard.
Right.
I mean, no, they don't want anybody there besides Nate Davis because they just gave him $30 million. That is why they want him there. And if I'm being completely honest with you, and Gary Ross must know everything. This guy he's the NFL insider. Yes,
Gary's in our chats every day for CHGO Sports across the board. Bears, Cubs.
Depending on if anybody gets healthy, you probably see Dieter week 1 against Green Bay. That would be my guess.
Well, I'm hopeful that Lucas Patrick will be healthy.
Yeah, Patrick will be healthy, but even still, even then, that makes Dieter the backup. So
it's a dicey situation. It is. I mean, we've said for a while now that's kind of the one spot where they're weakest. And on the surface, if you just look at the starting 5, if they were healthy all year, sure, I think they're a better group. I mean, it's a low bar from last year. I think anybody they threw out there was going to be a better group, even with a couple of these backups. They're still a better group than they were last year, as long as Darnell Wright is owning right tackle, because now you've got the 2 tackles at least in a place where you can rely on them. Are they going to be perfect? No, but are they going to be, better than what we were dealing with at right tackle last year? Yeah, I believe so. And I expect Darnell Wright to only get better and better, because that's why you draft a tackle in the top 10 and a right tackle in the top 10. It's because he's a very good player that will just continue to get better. But they have no depth there. So to your guys' point, I really do hope that they address that over the next week, whether it's through trade or the waiver wire. But you just got to keep adding depth. The same
They
way
don't
you've been
have a
adding
choice,
depth.
in my opinion.
What's that?
They don't have a choice, in my opinion.
Yeah, they've got money to spend. They've got the waiver wire to use their advantage. And I know Ryan Poles isn't no dummy. He knows this. And he's going to look at the best available options. I mean, look at him the way he keeps adding to the tight end room and adding in areas that we're not even really talking about. They bring in a linebacker from the Falcons, Mykal Walker, right? I mean, he was a guy that got a lot of snaps and made a lot of tackles for the Falcons last year. And
That's
everybody's
good
sitting there,
depth too.
what?
So that's good depth to have.
Yeah, you saw Noah Sewell get taken off on a cart today. So, hopefully he's going to be okay. But what was the update on him, Elise? I didn't really hear after the game.
No idea. Haven't heard an update on him at all. But
yeah,
it sounds like Eberflus said we'll know more tomorrow, just like with Doug Kramer. So
okay. So, Elise, your Junior's taking the Packers. Who are you taking week 1?
Right now, with the state of the team, the Packers.
God, you two.
And again, like if we're talking 100% healthy, right? And that's a dream world. And we'll even say both teams. And I don't know what all the Packers injuries are, or their nagging injuries or whatever. I would take the Bears.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Bears are. I think the Bears are a more talented team. And I can't believe I'm saying this. They're more talented on offense than the Packers are for the first time since maybe like 2013 when Rodgers was hurt, so that's, first time in 10 years. But on the defensive side of the ball, I think they're better than us. And obviously we're hurt pretty bad on offense up front. And Dre always says, games are won in the trenches, and it's not pretty for us right now. 100% healthy, I'm taking the Bears, but in this current state and situation, I'm probably going with the Packers.
Yeah.
Well, you're both wrong. So, okay. Elise, I appreciate you coming in as our first ever caller. We're hoping to do this a lot more as the season rolls on, and there's going to be a lot of passionate discussion, and some of it where we're screaming at each other, and some of it where we're throwing love towards each other, and that's just what
too late at night for me to be screaming.
So. Well, yeah,
it's never too late.
Just you come in here and piss me off with your terrible takes. We're going to get into it. You know that. So it's always funny because like when we're in spaces, I don't know what it is, but when we're in spaces, there's times where we'll rip each other to shreds. And for those of you that don't know, in Twitter world, you can go on these things called spaces, and that's where we all communicate. And it's almost like audio only. It's like Zoom, but it's audio only, where we're all just hanging out in this, same area, and we argue with each other. But for whatever reason, when we come on here, we're way too nice to each other. So we're going to have to try to switch that up real quick, because I get tired of the niceness. But Elise, I do want to thank you once again for hopping on here for to be our first caller. And I know we're going to hear from you a lot more as the season rolls on.
Probably.
So you just stay out of trouble on those mean streets of Twitter. Firing off bad takes.
I love chaos. I do it to joke. I do it to troll and mess with people, and they be getting too serious. So I'd be like, well,
it is getting to be a late night. So we're gonna bring on one more caller here, and we'll let you go. We'll let you go back to your room of darkness. I know the Irish won big today, so I'm sure you're excited about that. The Cubs won.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So we'll catch up with you here real soon. You stay out of trouble. I'll be gone for a week, so I ain't talking to you until Packer week. You're not going to hear from me, okay?
Right. I'm sure.
Yeah, you are sure. Stay out of trouble, Elise. We appreciate
before you. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, she's good. Go ahead.
Before you bring in whoever's next, here's a question I have, and whoever's in the waiting room, I can't see who it is. I truly can't. So I'm sorry to keep you waiting. Who needs this win more? Does Justin Fields need this win more, or does Jordan Love need this win more?
Well, I mean, Justin Fields needs this win more. There's no question about that. There's no question. The pressure is more on the Bears to win this game. I think they have more.
Are you saying that because it's in Chicago, or like why are you saying that?
Yeah, just because this is the first game in over 2 decades that the Bears are taking on the Packers without a Hall of Fame quarterback. And there's so much symbolism in that moment. How many years have we watched the Bears take on the Packers? And they've shown that laundry list of quarterbacks, failed quarterbacks that the Bears have put out there in the time span that Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers were under center for the Packers. It's 2 versus 48 failed quarterbacks, from, Craig Krenzel to Jonathan Quinn. To every bad quarterback we've ever been through. Jimmy Clausen. The list goes on and on. So this is the first time I had Peter Bukowski, one of the most hated Packers podcasters for Bears fans. He's always on Twitter and he's trolling us. He's talking shit. And I had him on CHGO Bears After Dark, and I asked him point blank, just going into week 1, nothing else, no projecting, no nothing, who has the better quarterback for week 1? And he said the Bears do. And that is the first time in my lifetime that I could get a Packers fan, especially of his ilk, to admit that. That's profound. The Bears cannot lose this game. People are like, of course, we understand they can because there's a long season and we get all that bullshit. But in the symbolism of this game, they cannot lose this game. It is a must win. It's not hyperbole. And you can try to rationalize it all you want, Bears fans, and say, it's fine. If they lose one, you come back. I understand all that. But if we're being honest with ourselves, the Chicago Bears have to win this game to make up. I mean, nothing's ever going to make up for 20 years of embarrassment. But if you allow them to win this game with Jordan Love over a quarterback in Justin Fields, who we're all hoping can become what he can become, it's going to be embarrassing is the word. And you may try to pretend like it's not embarrassing as a Bears fan. It will be. But at the end of the day, you're lying to yourself. And it's going to be an awful Monday if we have to fucking show our faces anywhere, whether it's at work or you're going on Twitter or you're walking down the street, and look anyone in the eye that understands the importance of Bears versus Packers without Aaron Rodgers and a chance for Justin Fields to right that wrong. So, yeah, I can't understate how much pressure is on the Bears. I hope they don't realize it, because
but you can sit here and say there's a lot of pressure on the Bears, but there's just as much pressure on the Packers, man.
No.
Yes, you can't say there's not. Dude, you go from you just said it, from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers, 30 years of dominance, and then Jordan Love. Right? So what is Jordan Love? What's their coach's name? Who's their head coach?
LaFleur.
LaFleur. Is LaFleur a good coach? Is he a good play caller? Like, you go from Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love. We know, or at least we have a general idea of what Matt Eberflus is. We have a general idea of what Luke Getsy is. We have a general idea of what Justin Fields is. And that may prove your point, right? So I may be feeding you here and helping you out, but if you look at it from the other side, I truly think the Packers and Jordan Love are under just as much pressure as the Bears are. Nobody knows who Jordan Love is, but they all know who Aaron Rodgers is. And most Packer fans have only seen Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. I think the Packers are under the same amount as pressure as Justin Fields is.
Yeah, I'm not there. Of course, they moved on from Aaron Rodgers. They want to prove that they made that right decision. But at the end of the day, if they don't, if they don't prove that and they have a bad season, let's say it's a tanked season, Packers fans will easily be able to go into the rational life and go, hey, this is a quarterback heavy draft, especially at the top end, and we'll go find our quarterback of the future. And they'll have, a Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre to be able to look back on in their lifetime. And for us, that's not the case. So we do have our next guest here coming on, and I don't know if he is having technical difficulties or what, but we're going to see. He's got 2 different Justins in here. Justin, can you hear us?
No.
Are you gonna go incognito too, like Elise?
Are you in the darkness too, man?
Are you in the dark room like Elise?
No, I'm fucking trying to leave work, and I'm still fuming over Junior's comments about my quarterback. So let's get to it.
What about him? Come on, let's go.
Because you said he looked fucking awful today because the fucking ball was misplaced.
Well, isn't that a quarterback's job to put the fucking ball where it needs to go, to give your receiver a fucking chance?
Come on,
so he didn't do his job. He didn't do his job. His job is to take that fucking ball and put it so Darnell Mooney can catch it, and he didn't do that. Look, he left. See? He left. His job is to put the ball where DJ. It's typical Justin. Nobody in here knows him. That's typical Jay Targaryen. And I hate because it's 9:15 at night and I'm getting heated over this shit. He didn't play good tonight. He did not play good tonight. It's okay to say that. Packers fans will say there's nights Aaron Rodgers didn't play good. I think
Justin would admit that he didn't place the ball well on those throws that you're being critical of. But at the same time, one of the other points, as much as I want to talk about, like, hey, they got to keep working on this deep passing down the sidelines, work that chemistry, work the timing, work ball placement and things of that nature. At the same time, the other thing I've been saying for a month and a half now since training camp has started, whatever you want to say, is that this has never been a fair representation of what this offense would actually be. And on the first two series, they go 3 and out. Doesn't look pretty, off the field. Are they going to play it? They play him a third series. And what happens? Justin Fields takes off for the first time pretty much all off season. You see a little bit of it at training camp, but again, they're not allowed to hit him. That was the first time he's put his foot in the ground, went upfield, and it almost looked like he almost was ready to break it there and run for another 70-yard touchdown like we saw him do time and again last year. And what happened as soon as he broke that run? The next play or 2 plays later is a deep shot to intermediate to deeper part of the field to DJ Moore, which he spins out of and turns into 40 yards. And they're moving the ball. To me, that's what this offense is going to be, where Justin Fields is going to break down the defense no matter what they call. You could call the perfect fucking blitz, and Hassan Riddick has got you dead to rights, and Justin Fields is just going to throw you off him, and he's going to take off for 30 yards. And now the defense is on their heels. And now if you're Luke Getsy, you got to be able to use that to your advantage. And that's what this offense is going to be. These dreams that we have as Bears fans that Fields is going to become this pocket passer that he was at Ohio State because he's fully capable of it, because he has the arm talent. I understand why you feel that way. But he is just not there yet. This team is just not there yet. So at the end of the day, he's going to still move the chains with his legs a lot more times than not. But this time around, as opposed to last year, that's going to open things up for DJ freaking Moore, who can turn something out of nothing in his own right, just like Justin can. Chase Claypool going to open things up for him. Darnell Mooney now becomes your third wide receiver. Last year, he was your one and could make plays with Justin Fields. So to me, that's what the offense is going to be, is what we saw in that third series. What we've seen most of this offseason, that's not the representation of this offense at all. So I understand he's got to hit these throws, he's got to make these plays, but I'm not worried about this team moving the chains. They're going to move the chains. They're going to score points. It's going to be more about, can the defense hold teams to 28 points as opposed to 38? Because Justin can't, you can't expect him to score 40 a game. But I think Justin and this offense can get between 25 and 30 points a game. I think that's realistic. They got to be able to get 7s and not 3s. While I feel confident they can move the chains, the red zone's a totally different animal, and that's where execution is paramount.
Okay, but like you said for the past month and a half, get the ball down the field. And and granted, it's small sample size. 2 throws down the field were bad throws. So it's not like me hating on Justin. It's just me stating facts. They were bad thrown balls. And like I said an hour ago in here, if Justin Fields makes those throws, everyone's like, oh my God, he's a fucking angel. He's God. But because now I'm going against, the Messiah or whatever the hell Bears fans want to call him, the golden boy, it's, oh my God, Junior hates him. Why are you criticizing him? You're criticizing him every play. He's the quarterback. It's the most important position in all of sports. You're going to be criticized by everything you do. You're the leader. When you are successful, you give that success to someone else, even though you were the reason they were successful. And when you fall, you take blame for that. That's the quarterback position.
And
I don't understand the problem.
I don't think Justin Fields is going to avoid that.
Not at all.
Yeah,
I don't either.
You know, and the other thing I like too was when Bagent was, had a few nice moments. They pan on the sidelines, and Fields is rooting him on. He's not, he's comfortable, in his own right. He's not worried about not that he should be, but I'm just saying he's not like over there jaded or anything like that. He's doing what a good teammate does, and that shows he has confidence in himself. So we got Bears and Cigars here. I think you are both right, honestly. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like we talked about this today on the CHGO Bears postgame show. Adam Hogue and Mark Carman were both saying Justin Fields has to get better at this, that, and the other. And I was sitting there, we were having this convoluted argument about who the best player on this team was. And they said DJ Moore, and I said, slow down. Justin Fields is still the best player on this team. And then what happened was we started to get lost in the weeds on what I meant by that. I'm not saying that Justin Fields doesn't have a lot of improvement to do. But what I'm saying is what I already know he can do is so rare that I am putting him as the best player on this team. And I understand anybody that wants to make the argument that it's DJ Moore, and there's no question. I get your argument. I respect your argument. But if you can't understand where I'm coming from in that regard, then that's where the conversation stops. Because while DJ Moore, if you want to put a ranking list of who the best wide receiver in the NFL is, he's at the top. And if you put a ranking of where Justin Fields is as quarterbacks in this league, he's not at the same level. But that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is a guy that can make plays on this team. And even though Justin Fields still has a lot of growth to do in this league, his game-changing ability is so rare and so unique that he still, even with all these improvements he still has to make, is the best player on this team. And I think it's a fair argument, and it only speaks to just how special Justin Fields could be if he gets it all figured out, because he's already he's like Devin Hester at quarterback. You can't defensive coordinators freak out and lose sleep leading up to the week they got to figure out how to game plan against Justin Fields. Because like I said before, you can draw up the perfect game plan to contain Justin Fields, and he's going to break your fucking contain. Now, all of a sudden, you got to deal with these skill guys he's got around him. The one shot you got is this offensive line and how they're going to communicate and hold up on pass protection. But good luck to you, man, because Justin's still going to find a way. So is he going to be a finished product this year? No. Is he going to take another step? Yes. And the question is that step going to be enough to put your mind at ease, Junior? Because you're one of his critics. You're one of those people that's like, I don't want to talk about it. Show me. And I'm one of these people that's like, believe, because it's going to happen. So for you, where is your, we talked about this a little the last show we did, but we can kind of leave it at this and then we'll call it a night. Where is that step acceptable for you to say, all right, showed enough improvement. I now believe that he is going to be the quarterback of the future and continue to take these steps to be the quarterback that all Bears fans deserve?
I think it's just growing as a quarterback, right? Everyone thinks like I have this passion to want to hate Justin, and I don't. I like the guy. I think he's already the best running quarterback the NFL has ever seen. And that's saying something, because Lamar Jackson is phenomenal at it, right? Or at least we've seen Lamar Jackson be phenomenal at it. I think Justin has to grow as a quarterback. His reads got to be quicker. I don't want Justin to be, oh, it's not there. Boom, I got to go. And I get it. Sometimes it's going to happen. But when you look at last year, there was a lot of mistakes that were made that you need to fix, right? Dumb passes. We always talk about, how many times did Justin make a play so he doesn't get sacked? But we never talk about the times of how many times did Justin do something stupid to where he does get sacked, right? We never bring those up. And that's the problem I have when we try to evaluate Justin Fields. This year, we're going to get a good idea of what Justin is. You got him everything he needed. Unfortunately, the offensive line is hurt. And, hopefully it gets healthy enough to where you can give a fair evaluation and analysis on that. Is Justin that $200 million quarterback? Dan says it all the time. If Justin balls out this year, give him $180, $200 million. I would do it. I would do it right away. Pay him right away because the market's going to get reset in 2 years, right? So you want to obviously pay him now. So when you are good, that's a cheap contract. But to your question of what do I have to see from Justin? You said last year, what was the Bears' record in one-score games?
Yeah, I think they were like
1-7.
1 in fucking 10.
Cut that in half. Cut that in half. I want to be the reason when the Bears win. I want to say we won that fucking game because of Justin Fields. I don't want to say, oh, Eddie Jackson fucking popped the receiver and he dropped the ball and we picked the fumble up. No. I want to say Justin Fields took us 90 yards down the fucking field and Darnell Mooney caught that goddamn ball. There's no excuses. You got him a top 15 receiver. You got him a guy who oozes potential and talent in Chase Claypool. You got him a good tight end who I was wrong about, who is developing at a good pace in Cole Kmet. He has everything, and his running back room is pretty damn good. And like you said, Roschon Johnson, I think, is going to be good. And by the end of the year, I think he's going to be running back one. There is no more excuses for Justin Fields. So back to the question, I'll repeat myself. Be the reason they win games. Do not be the reason they lose games. And I understand there's going to be times we lose games and people are going to point fingers and be like, that's Justin's fault. That's Justin's fault. You have everything you need now to be a 9-win team, to be a 10-win team. Do I think they get there? No. But anyone in here, if you ask Greg, the first person who will say, damn, I was wrong, will be me. I have no problem saying, damn, I was wrong. This is a 10-win team, and I thought they were going to win 6. Shut people up. It's that simple. All you Bears fans, Chicago media hates us. They're always talking shit about Justin Cowherd. Ball out! Ball out! Shut the fuck up. I always tell people at work, go into work, put your head down and work. Make me shut up. Work your ass off. And that's what Justin Fields has to do. And he's a hard-ass worker. I really believe it. First one in, last out. To me, that means a lot, right? I think he's dedicated to the team and the organization, the franchise. And I really think he wants to be the best the best quarterback in Bears history. It's not hard to do, but I think he wants that.
It's a low bar.
It is. And I think he wants to bring a championship to the city and us as Bears fans, we want that championship so goddamn bad, not just to validate Justin Fields, not to validate Ryan Poles, to validate this organization.
To validate all the time we spend.
The founding franchise, like the McCaskies, like all of it. Like it's not just about Fields, it's about the city. We love this fucking team. I've said it before. The Bears can go 0-17, and I promise you they're going to be damn near selling out every game because we love this damn team.
Yep.
Justin, be the reason they win. You have the tools, develop. You are raw, but you can be so goddamn good in the NFL. And like Greg said, perfect. Defensive coordinators do not, and I think the Bears are slowly getting to that level on the schedule of where we're not afraid of the Bears, right? I don't think teams are afraid of the Bears, but they're afraid of number one on offense for the Chicago Bears. And when defensive coordinators see that, they're like, listen, let's get on.
Now they got to be afraid of DJ Moore too.
Exactly.
And to bear truth, Nine's point, Justin Fields was the reason they were in games last year.
100%.
But they didn't win games.
They didn't win games.
Right.
And I know
Leo Factor will say Fields took us down the field versus Miami last year, and they could have called a penalty on Chase Claypool versus Washington. Yep. Darnell Mooney makes the drop. Players didn't make plays for Justin. He did have good drives to win games. So that's, and I understand where you're coming from, Junior, because when you lose a game by an inch, there's 10 plays you can point to say that that's the difference. But this year now, with the talent on the team, the excuses are going to start being limited for Justin Fields and Luke Getsy. We spend a lot of time talking about Justin Fields and not enough about how this is also Luke Getsy's responsibility to put players in the right position, find the right matchup, get them in man-to-man coverage and get the tight end over a nickel cornerback and let Cole Kmet go to work. That's also the offensive coordinator's responsibility. And you see good offensive play callers around the league understand that chess match and use it to their advantage. I did have, Bears and Cigars was asking me, to my point about why I feel who's the best on the team, in this take that I had. And he asked me this question as I can find it here. Greg, are you going on Justin's potential by saying he's the best player of the team or his actual play? And I'll clarify it one more time, and then we're going to call it a night here. Ran a little longer to bring on some callers here to kind of test that out. So when we get into the regular season for Bears Packers, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of different people that want to pop in here. There's going to be technical difficulties. It's just what happens when you're streaming live and different people are coming in from different sources, whether it be a phone or computer. So just try to work that out to see how we can do that in a seamless way. But he asked me, am I going on Justin's potential? No, that's the point, is Justin's potential off of what he's already shown as a playmaker in this league. His potential is exponential because he's already, Junior just said it, the best running quarterback in his mind ever. Lamar Jackson, Michael Vick, Cam Newton, Steve Young. Those are the players that are in that category. And Justin Fields, in his mind, and I agree in Junior's mind, that he is right there, if not the top. Why? Because he has the shifty, juking abilities of Michael Vick. He has the speed of Lamar Jackson, top line speed. He has the power of Cam Newton. He's got this total package of, just dynamic playmaking ability. And I understand that isn't the totality of what a quarterback should be, especially the ones that have won Super Bowls in the history. Jalen Hurts almost rewrote that script last year, and I think if they don't call the penalty on the Eagles defense and let the Eagles get the ball back, maybe Jalen Hurts drives them down for a 6th touchdown or whatever he had, because he was lighting it up on the ground with his legs and through the air to A.J. Brown. But we won't know because they called a penalty, and so Jalen Hurts was never able to get the ball back in the final 2 minutes of that Super Bowl, and I thought they ruined a really fun opportunity for a great moment in Super Bowl history. But Justin Fields, if you put him with Jalen Hurts, who I think set the record for most rushing touchdowns of a quarterback, Justin Fields is 4 times the athlete than Jalen Hurts is as far as speed and power and athleticism. And Jalen Hurts mopped up the rushing record books as a quarterback. But because he throws it, nobody has anything to say about how he gets the job done. And that's where Justin Fields has to ascend to. So his potential is in that Jalen Hurts category where he could potentially be an MVP. But on this team, and I said this to Hogan Carm, if you had to guess who's going to have more touchdowns, and I'm not talking about passing touchdowns for Justin Fields, because obviously he's going to have, hopefully 30 and break Eric Kramer's record, all-time record as a Bears quarterback. Pretty low bar. So I just want 30. I don't even want 35, just literally 30. Eric Kramer's all-time record for a Bears quarterback in a single season is 29. But what I'm talking about is, do you think Justin Fields will have more touchdowns on the ground on his own than DJ Moore will have receiving touchdowns? Because I think it's going to be damn close.
It's going to be close.
DJ Moore have somewhere around 8, something like that, 8 to 10. And Justin Fields, what? I think last year with the record, I think Jalen Hurts had like 15. So I think Justin's going to have somewhere around 12. Because when they get in the red zone, like I said, I have all the confidence that the Bears are going to move the chains. Between the skill position guys they have and Justin being able to just say, fuck it, I'm going to do it on my own, they'll get first downs. And then when it gets bogged down in the red zone, if they can't find Chase Claypool in a one-on-one or Cole Kmet in a one-on-one jump ball, or they can't run it in with Roshan Johnson or Khalil Herbert, they're just going to say, fuck it. Justin do it. We got to get in the end zone. We got to score points. We're trying to win games. And that's going to equate to Justin Fields getting a lot of touchdowns. So make sure you're picking him up in your fantasy teams. So that's what I'm saying. Like, while I understand he's got leaps and bounds to improve on as a full totality of a quarterback, I just don't think Bears fans understand and appreciate just how rare of a talent he is. Because we all are talking about this potential he hasn't achieved yet, as if he doesn't already exude this amazing talent already. I just think we're at a point because Mitch didn't work out, Jay didn't work out, they didn't win a Super Bowl against the Colts, and we don't care about any of that shit. We just want this quarterback to not be a bust. And I understand that feeling, but then you're not paying attention to what this rare talent we have here. I just think we underappreciate what he already has proven he can do in this league. He has a lot more to get better at. And I am not excusing any of that, and I'm not dismissing any of that. But I am also going to acknowledge just how special he already is. So that's where I'm going to leave it here for tonight. Like I said, I'm going to Florida here starting tomorrow for a week. So I'm going to go into radio darkness. I'm going to be in the dark room like Elise was for a week down in Florida. I might be in a dark room with no electricity if these tropical storms roll through Florida like they might be doing. So I don't want to jinx it, knock on wood there. But so I'm going to try to take a social media break, podcasting break on the whole thing and refresh and reset for the regular season. And the next time you're going to hear from me is for Packer week. So it'll be guns a-blazing. Maybe we'll hop on before the Packers game. Maybe we'll do something on like a Friday night after the Lions-Chiefs game, which is Thursday night, the first game of the season, where we talk about now that we're closer to week one, we know who's in, who's out for the active roster for the Bears. We know the result of the Lions game. They're going to lose. Spoiler alert. And we can have some fun.
He's read the script. Gary Ross got you the script.
We got the script. That's the other point. If you don't think Justin Fields is the alpha and the guy on this team, who was in the NFL script little video they did? Was it DJ Moore or was it Justin Fields? It was Justin Fields. So
yeah, just to piggyback off that really quick, I think Justin Fields and with Bears said, is it off of potential or actual play? I think it's both.
Right.
I think Justin's
and that's
player.
not to say DJ Moore's a superstar. It's just
is.
What Justin Fields is much more rare in this league than anything DJ Moore has done. You just don't see it. And that just goes to show you just how great Justin can be because there's a lot more room to grow. So like I said, I'm a Radio Darkness. Stay tuned here, 10, 12 days from now, maybe an update on an upcoming show, maybe after the Lions Chiefs game. And then of course, it might be a late night post-game show for Bears Packers because that game is at 3:00. Most of the Bears games this season will be at noon. We get our post-game show done. They'll probably be more so around this time. But that first week of the season, we're just going to have to play it by ear. And if we end up having to do it Sunday or Monday night before Monday Night Football or something, so be it. But I'm going to do my best, especially since it's Bears-Packers, to come to you guys live that night with Junior and get our passionate initial reaction instead of letting a day of it kind of simmer through. So we're all really excited. No more preseason, no more hypotheticals, no more, training camp. It doesn't matter. Does it not matter? Regular season talk the rest of the way. Really excited for all of it. And again, thank you to everybody that's tuned in here for our first couple shows. Please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, tell your friends to subscribe to the channel. We're going to grow this thing little by little, and as our schedules line up, try to do as many shows as we possibly can, include you guys in the chat to come on and give your voice and opinion to the show. So we'll just continue to grow this little thing, and you guys are on the ground floor. So as it starts to get a little bigger and we get some new faces in here, I won't forget all you guys who are here to start. So again, thank you for tuning in once again tonight. So I think that wraps things up. Junior, any final thoughts before we cut you loose?
Oh man, guys, we have 15 days I love my Bears just like you guys do. And preseason's over, like Greg says. No more training camp. Tuesday's cut down day at 5. One last time, I'm ready to bear the fuck down. I want to beat the Packers so goddamn bad. I don't think it happens, unfortunately, as of right now. My thoughts can change come that Friday when we talk.
Nobody gives a shit what you think.
But yeah, I know. But bear down. Everybody have a good night. Greg, safe travels. And let's beat the shit out of the Packers, please. Let's do it.
All right. Sounds good. Green Bay sucks. Have a good night, ladies and gentlemen.